All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the eBay shop. My name's Corey.
I'm Teresa.
And we are Grams and Pops Vintage, and today we're going to talk about silverware.
Hold my fork.
But first, as usual, we do have some things going out today that we need to get packed up. So let's look at the first thing that's sold.
We sold some stuff. It's called Tatcha. I picked it up at an estate sale that we went to that it was 50% off, and there were 4 pieces in it.
Tatcha sounds like something you get at a sushi bar or something. Is it edible?
No, it's Tatcha Ageless Enriching Renewal Cream. It's a 1.86 fluid ounce bottle container.
Why would you sell that? We could use that.
It ain't going to help me.
Would it help me?
No. But it is brand new, so there were 4 pieces. I listed all 4 separately. And this one sold, and it sold for $59.99 plus shipping, and it was only listed for about, what time did I list it? Like 11 o'clock last night?
Yeah, it wasn't.
So it was only listed for about 8 hours.
So cosmetics have done really well for us lately. Did you shut off international shipping on all our cosmetics? No. We should probably do that before we get ourselves into trouble. But, yep, that one sold. So cosmetics.
So watch out for Tatcha. Never heard of the brand. Okay, the next thing we sold was some Oneida silverware.
Part of the topic for today, silverware.
They are. That's why I picked these ones right before we did it. So these are Oneida Omni Heirloom Satin Stainless Salad Forks, a set of 4.
Is that why they're ugly like that? Like
no, the
weird shape?
No, the
looks like a spork.
It's that model because the dinner forks are the same way.
It's like if a spork and a pickle fork had a baby.
It is, because most forks have 4 tines. Yeah. But that one has 3.
And it's got like a dish here, so yeah, that's... So what do those sell for, a set of 4?
A set of 4 of those ones sold for $29.99 plus shipping.
There you go. Gotta love silverware. All right, hey everybody, welcome back to another sticker door feature.
Nope. It's not called sticker door feature no more.
What are we calling it?
It's just called sticker feature.
Welcome back to another sticker feature.
Off our sticker door.
We're going to go feature a sticker off the sticker door, and it is field trip time.
Field trip.
All right.
Are we ready to let the picker go?
Let the picker go. You're so weird. Who do we got?
We get Dan in Demand.
Oh, it's Dan. All right. So go check out Dan in Demand's channel.
Dan in Demand has a channel. I don't know how often he puts out.
He hasn't.
Sorry, Dan. I don't know how often he releases a video.
He doesn't put out a lot of content on that channel, but everybody should go there, comment on his last video and tell him Grams and Pops said to start putting out more content, and he needs to put out more because Dan does some good videos.
He does, but he is also part of a podcast.
He is. It's not a good one.
He is part of, I'm not commenting, the Reseller Leftovers podcast with Jimmy Old School Flips and
Joe Philly Picker.
Yes, I don't know their names.
If you guys haven't checked that out, it is worth watching. Dan in Demand is pretty hilarious over there. It's a fun podcast to watch. So go check it out. Tell them Grams and Pop sent you.
Okay, so the reason we're doing this video is somebody asked.
Yep.
On how we pick our silverware. We were new to silverware.
We're still new to silverware.
We are.
We are no experts, but we're going to try and impart what little knowledge we've gained.
Yep, we've gained some. So one of the big pieces that you have to look for when you're looking at silverware is the brands. Not all brands are created equal.
That's usually well, because we don't know much, we don't know how to spot good silverware per se, but we do know a few brands that we watch out for.
Yep.
And if they land in one of these brands, we dig in a little further.
Yep.
So that's our first clue to look at them, is to look at the brand.
So one of the main brands we look for, and we have done exceptionally well with this, is Oneida. I don't know why, because it's not even like vintage Oneida. They're like stainless steel Oneida.
Did somebody say Oneida started out as like a hippie community brand? Like they were made on like a commune or something? Did we hear that somewhere?
Can I pause for a second?
I could have swore we heard from somebody that Oneida was made by like a commune.
Possibly. Hold on. I think it's because, remember, some of the Oneida is called community. So I wonder if that's why.
I don't know. If there's a cult out there making silverware, that's kind of awesome. So thought it was an interesting fact. At least they're not making Kool-Aid this time.
It's founder's religious philosophy. So I think it was like, I don't know. I didn't read fast enough to read it because I'm not a speed reader, but
So,
we
there
might
you
have
go.
to do some research and put a little comment on whether it actually
Well,
is.
allegedly, Oneida was made by a cult. So there you go.
Yes. Okay. So a couple of the other brands, I do watch for Cambridge. Some Cambridge brand are okay. Again, like I said earlier, all silverware is not created equal.
And we'll get into more specifics once you identify a brand, if it's one of these, how to find out if that particular make or model is worth anything. But another one is Rogers.
Rogers is a couple of
Comes
different.
by many different names.
Yeah, it's like W.M. Rogers,
Rogers Brothers.
Rogers Brothers. There's a couple of other ones that we have done okay on some of
Williams
those.
and something.
William
something.
Rogers.
Yeah. Rogers is, I don't think they pinned down a name, so they just kept rotating.
And I don't honestly know if they're all the same either, though. I mean, it would be weird if W.M. Rogers and Rogers Brothers were different. I wonder if they just...
I think they're the same. I think they just, the name was evolving as time went on. But that's one we have found a few pieces in that were decent. One I'd never heard of until Teresa wrote it down was Holmes and Edwards.
Holmes and Edwards.
Edward.
Yep. Some of those
Is
are
there
good.
an S on it? Edwards? Holmes and Edward. Maybe it's Ed's home. Either way, look for that combination of two words.
Yes. One of the other ones, one of the very first silverware that we picked up that we did amazing on was Eldon. Yeah. And Eldon doesn't really have pattern names. They just have like ELD as the beginning of their stuff and then a number. But those were the ones that we got that had the like wood toned handles.
Yeah, the fake wood. It was like a poly, but it looked like wood. Yep.
Yep.
And we did it. They weren't super high dollar, but they sold really quick.
Yep. Okay. So now my challenge is, you see that last one? Can you say it?
Feifel giraffe?
No, it's called Fallsgraf.
Why do they spell it like that?
I don't know.
Fallsgraf?
It took me a long time to figure out how to say that because there's a P and an F.
Pfalzgraff.
I think.
Or you spelled it wrong.
I don't know.
Okay, don't go off that spelling. She just put a whole bunch of graffiti up here so that I could try and pronounce a whole bunch of consonants with no vowels.
It's all spelt right except for one piece. There's only one F on the end. There's not two.
So that brand.
Look for Fallsgraf. Fallsgraf is also good for...
so just look for the alphabet with no vowels in it.
there's two vowels in there. But Fallsgraf is not only good for silverware, they are also good for actual like dishes and stuff. So that's where we kind of initially started that, but then we found a lot of those Fallsgraf silverware that were in a store, like a antique store.
The one thing we've done really good on, even on these brands and some other brands that we didn't mention here, is the serving utensils out of the silverware sets. So if you could find like the serving utensils, those tend to do those are almost always the first ones out. Yep. And they go for a little bit better money than just the normal forks and stuff. So watch for serving utensils as well as just your normal
flatware,
sporks, whatever we're selling here.
I guess my question to our viewers is, what brands do you find that sell well? Because we haven't delved into a whole lot, but these are the ones we've kind of touched or bought. Yeah. And sold.
We know there's a few other channels that have kind of jumped on the silverware thing. I know Caleb at the Old Path, they sell a specific brand and model of silverware. And then...
But we can't just say Caleb. We have to say Tanya, because Tanya found them.
Tanya did find them. So
Tanya found them.
Caleb is just the pusher. Like, she's the supplier.
Caleb's the drug dealer.
And
that was bad.
The preaching pusher. Sorry, Caleb, we're going to make fun of you today, I guess.
I'm sorry.
And then Scott and Christina at the Trading Post Pickers, they are actually the ones that kind of got us interested. Like, we heard about the value of silverware from them, and I know Christina has like 100 times more knowledge on this silverware stuff than we do, but we've just got enough to where we're making good money on it.
We are.
So check out those channels if you want to kind of see what types of silverware they're selling. Because there are other brands that we're not even aware of, I'm sure of it.
That's correct.
All right. Was that it for brands?
That is it for brands that I know
Those are
of.
the brands that we know of. Okay, so let's look at what sold next.
We sold a 2019 NFL Denver Broncos limited edition 12-inch mascot statue.
Yep, we sold a Denver donkey. There he is.
That's not a donkey.
It looks like a donkey.
It's a Bronco.
Whatever.
It's a horse.
It's a Denver Donko. Denver Donko. Yeah. So cool little football thing, I would assume.
Yep.
He sold for what?
For $34.99. We did pay up for him a little bit just because we didn't know for sure.
What's
about
paying
him.
up?
I want to say we paid like $5 to $6 for him.
Into 30? I'm okay with that, I guess. All right, what's next?
So this is another brand of Oneida. They are Oneida stainless morning blossom individual salad forks. There's a set of 2.
2 little forks, and you can kind of maybe see the pattern through that noisy bag.
Those sold for $9.99 plus shipping.
For 2 forks.
So $5 a fork. $4.98 a $4.90, yeah, something like that.
We'll just pretend we didn't do that. Okay, so yeah, 2 forks going out, and those are going to ship super easy for next to nothing. So
Yep. So that brings us to our next topic.
patterns.
Patterns.
How do you know? Just say you find a set of Oneida silverware at a garage sale. How do you know if they're good or not?
Yeah, because some patterns are very basic, like our Omni ones. Those are very, very basic.
Yep. So if you remember these, there's literally nothing on them.
Ooh, should I grab the other ones?
I don't know. We can grab a different one.
I'll grab the Brahms one.
In contrast of that is the Brahms.
Yep, which is very ornate and detailed and
quite ornate. They
yeah,
have.
it's even got like little holes on the side.
I wouldn't want these because every time we washed them, there'd be food chunks stuck in those little holes, and like I would not. Those are hand wash only type silverware.
No, I'd throw them in the dishwasher.
I know, but they'd never be clean. You'd always have like last week's macaroni stuck up there or something. But that's the pattern we're talking about. They're different than just the normal.
Siri's recording everything you had and said.
Oh, she's interested. So they're different than just a plain old.
They are. So like I said, don't discount plain patterns because I didn't think the Omni would be really good, but he was.
The plain ones will sell too. The important thing is identify them so you know which ones are actually worth. Because there are a lot of silverware we just pass up because they just don't sell and they're not worth much.
The sell-through rate is horrible for some silverware.
Yeah, in order to know that, you have to know what it actually is.
Yep.
The brand, a lot of time you can read, like right on the back of the silverware.
And sometimes on the back of the silverware as well is their model or their pattern. I keep saying model, but their pattern ID.
Well, that kind of is the model.
Some of them, they do actually print like Oneida, Brahms. Oneida Brahms doesn't
Communities
do that.
wrote on the back.
Community is, yep. But that's just the kind of still part of the brand. Though. Yeah. But so the way I identify silverware is I used to sit and go through. I used to do
here. That was a good. The way I identify silverware. What is that, Teresa?
Your ass. So I used to go through and sit and scroll through replacements.com based on the brand that's on the back.
Yep.
That used to take forever. Then somebody pointed out in a video one time that I missed, but we go to a website called replacements.com. On replacements.com, in their search thing, there's now a little camera. So you can go in and take a picture of, it says to take a picture of the whole silverware, but that's not, I don't do that.
You rebel.
I take a picture of, the base part of the handle. Shut up. I take a picture of the base part of the handle, so this part, and it will pop up brands, models, all different brands. So even though we know this is Oneida, it will still pop up, Holmes & Edwards, Fallsgraf, whatever, that has a similar pattern.
Yep. So it's basically like Google image search.
Yep.
It's just it's their own search within replacements.com.
Yep.
So that's a quick way to very, very quickly kind of narrow the field and just get a few options to choose from. And usually that's enough to find it.
It is. And then what I do after that is then I just go out I take that brand and pattern,
Go to eBay.
hop out to eBay real quick, put it in. I
Just
don't
comp
search
it like anything else.
Yep, I just don't search by, hey, this is a spoon, this is a fork. I just go in general by their entire listing, that brand and that model, or that brand and
pattern.
That.
Yeah, just look for how many are sold. Just look for sell-through
Yep.
rate and what they're selling at. And you comp it like anything else you would on eBay once you have the pattern. But without the pattern, you'd have so many results that it wouldn't give you an accurate. If you just search for Oneida fork, you'd be there forever. You'd never know if you were selling anything good or bad. I think we covered that well enough. Like, you know what the brands are and how to identify those.
Yep.
They're usually wrote on the back of the silverware. Serving utensils are usually better than normal forks and spoons. And now we know how to identify the patterns.
Yep.
So you can comp them out on eBay and see, one, do they sell? And two, what do they sell for? Are they worth picking up? So you know what to pay for them. So that kind of covers, should you buy them and how to identify them so you can't buy them.
And the most, I will tell you, the most I've ever spent on a lot of silverware is $75.
Yeah, and that was paying up.
That was paying up. Because typically at most garage sales or online.
For 10 and 20 bucks all the time.
Yep, 5, 10, 20 bucks. I think 30 bucks is the most I've spent at a garage sale because that was for the initial Brahms that we bought.
Yep.
But I did, knowing that Brahms sells really well, I did pay up $75 for a set of Brahms flatware online.
Oh, something we should probably mention. Don't worry about it. When we're talking about like flatware, we're not talking about just silverware that's made of silver or silver plate. A lot of these are just stainless.
They are stainless.
So don't worry about what material they are. Just look at the brand and the pattern to look them up and comp them. We'll get into some of that other stuff later, but material is not really important. I mean, sure, if you find solid silver spoons, they're probably going to be worth a little bit more, but you still got to identify them and comp them the same way we're talking about.
The other thing, like you said, it doesn't really matter, but there are some brands, for some stupid reason, they remade them.
Yep.
So you have some that are silver plate and you have some that are stainless.
All right, so let's look at what's sold next.
We sold a Lowrance. I always thought it was Lawrence. Lowrance. Wide angle transom mount skim transducer.
Yep. This is the part of the sensor part of like a fish finder, depth finder. And it's got the long cord on it and the plug. So what does one of them sell for?
That sold for $34, even, plus shipping.
And we always look for these. We've done really good with fish finders this year. For some reason, we just keep finding them. But these transducers, even if you find these all by themselves without the fish finder, they're almost always worth buying. We've actually done some retail arbitrage with these from places like Runnings, where they're clearing out old ones that they don't have the depth finders for anymore, but the transducers still sell. So that's that one. All right, what else you got?
We sold a camera. We've been doing really good with cameras lately. Like, we found a lot of really good cameras.
We found less this year than we did last year. It seems like cameras are getting tougher to find.
Yep.
But the ones we are finding have been pretty decent. This one's not knock out of the park
It's
great,
not
but
horrible,
it's not bad.
But this is a Nikon Coolpix 2200 silver optical digital camera.
So the little point and click digital cameras.
Point and shoot.
Point and click, point and shoot, point and picture, whatever you want to call it. And we've done, even on some film cameras too, we've done okay on, but that one sold for how much?
That one sold for $29.99, but we only paid $3 for it.
Yep. When we're picking these up, I know we've mentioned it before, always look them up based on parts value. If it was only parts and it didn't work, that's how we comp these out to find out. And we always check the battery compartment.
Yep, and some of those, as long as they're the AAA batteries, or AA.
We carry batteries with us.
We do carry batteries with us to test them.
All right, so we have now identified our silverware. We have made a decision on whether or not it's worth buying or not, and we've pulled the trigger and bought some.
Yep.
How do we list them? We've had this question a couple of times. Do you list them as a whole set? Do you list them as a place setting, mean a knife, a fork, a spoon type thing? Or do you list them individually? Like, we get this question a few times, and we should answer it here.
Why'd you point at me?
Because you should answer it here.
Okay, so
Hold on. Briefly answer it.
shush. So I base how I list them based off of what has sold. So if you go in and there are a whole lot of individual ones listed and there's a few that are sold in place settings, but you go to sold and there's more place settings or more lots of them, which we typically do lots of 4, 3, 2, depending on what we have, then I will list them as place settings or lots.
Almost always eBay solds will tell you the
Yep.
story of how you should list them.
Yep.
Because there are, like you said, when we started first doing it, you'd go look on eBay and they were listed in so many different ways.
Yep.
We saw whole sets in the box. We saw place settings. We saw individual spoons.
Yep.
Like it took a little bit of looking into the solds to say, oh, they're actually selling more consistently as groups of 4 forks or whatever.
Yep. So if you come into a whole set of silverware, I only have one that's listed as a whole. No, I have 2 that's listed as a whole set just because they seem to sell better that way versus individually or 4 pieces.
Yep.
Very seldom do I list
The whole thing.
in the whole thing or individual.
Yeah, it's almost always as some kind of grouping.
Yep. So it's, I divide out, if we get a place setting of 12, I will do 4 sets of 4 forks.
I know we've
Oh, wait.
a lot of times you'll see us selling groups of 4, like 4
Yep.
forks, 4 spoons. It seems like that one's almost the most common, but we have done place setting sets before.
Yep.
So it really just depends on how they're actually selling.
Yep.
All right. So let's look at what actually did move that we need to pack up.
The next one was really surprising,
We've had these for so long.
but I just listed them like, I don't know, a month ago or so. So it wasn't like they sat
guess.
in our death pile for a long time.
They sat up on that shelf back there forever. I must have moved these things 20 times. They're these little pink and purple like trinket boxes.
Yes. They are just homemade pink and purple square glass trinket boxes. They have a mirror.
Homemade is the brand. They're not actually homemade. They're not made.
it?
Yeah, I don't know if homemade is the brand, but they're not homemade.
Oh, I said handmade. Oh, handmade, not homemade. Handmade.
Is that the brand?
No, they're just handmade. It says right on there they're handmade.
Oh. Well, they're like soldered on the edges.
Yep.
They're like stained glass.
Yep, and they have a piece of, I think they have a piece of actual
Sometimes
glass.
we know what we're selling. Sometimes we know how to say it too.
If you open it, there's a little piece of glass in the bottom.
It's like a mirror in the bottom.
Yep. So for these 2 trinket boxes that are teeny tiny, like 2 inch by 2 inch, not even, it was $19.99 plus shipping.
Yep.
I love selling trinket boxes because they're always ornate, unique. Like very seldom do you see trinket boxes that are the
It's
same.
one of the few things that we've sold from the very beginning. We picked up some trinket boxes and we've always just had some for sale and we just keep selling them. Trinket boxes have always done well for us.
They do. I like trinket boxes.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
We sold some forks. Another 4-piece place setting of Oneida Omni Heirloom Satin Stainless Dinner Forks. See that? Do they have 4?
Yeah.
They do have 4. Oh, there's the garbage guy.
So those are almost spork-like themselves. They have a little dish part right there. They're kind of a weird shaped. I don't know if I like this set. It's the one we showed you that was just plain.
They're
There's
just
nothing
basic.
on them. So what does 4 forks sell for?
Are you ready? Are you
I'm
going to
ready.
fall over if I tell you?
I hope not, because I wouldn't be able to get back up.
They sold for $54.99 for a set of 4.
So more than $10 a fork.
Yep, and that's
For
what
for forks that have no decoration, they're
Yep.
not fancy, nothing to them.
the Omni one, or the Brahms ones, we've sold for $60 before. So watch out for silverware.
There you go. All right. So, do we clean the silverware? That's a question that we felt we should probably answer. Well, do we clean them before we list them, and then how do we store them once we do have them listed here in the shop?
I do wash them because sometimes you will get silverware, even though people store them in containers. Sometimes they don't wash them very good before they put them away.
Sometimes
they
they're a
stuck them in
little
the
chunky.
dishwasher.
The last thing you want to do is send out a set of 4 forks and have spaghetti stuck in that thing. Like, you don't want to send food out with them.
Or
Because,
stuck in between the tines of the
Yeah.
forks.
Why is everything I'm saying is stuck in the silverware pasta related?
I
I
don't
must
know.
be hungry for pasta.
I guess we're having spaghetti for supper.
So yeah, you do want to clean them, wash
I
them
do
at the
wash
very
them.
least. That's about all we do to them almost always, unless it's silver and it's tarnished.
Silver plate, yep. So
We never used to do anything with the tarnished silver. We just list it and sell it.
but we did find that it sells a little bit better when it's a little bit cleaner and not so tarnished. Who was
and
that?
it makes for much better pictures.
Yeah, who was that at the
Was it
reseller rally?
Wes?
I think so. Somebody told us about some silver cleaner. I don't even remember what it's called, but I'll have Corey put a picture or a link up here.
Something
okay
Silver Dip.
Oh, that's right. Yep, Silver Dip. I just don't remember the brand.
If you use the links below, I believe it is in our Amazon store. So you can look at it. We bought a gallon of it, which will probably last us forever.
Yep.
But if you're doing silverware, it's so nice to have.
Yep, so all you do with it is you pour it in a bowl. You want to pour it in a plastic bowl because you don't want metal in, you don't want glass. I poured it in my plastic bowl. You drop your tarnished silverware in it for like 10, 15 seconds. I did a little swirly just because I liked watching the stuff fall off of it. And it comes out and it's like, oh my gosh, shiny.
It's like almost polished, clean silverware. And that's all we really do to that stuff. And it does make a difference in your pictures. It makes a difference in the quality of your listing. When people are looking through and they see the same thing, but one's tarnished and one's not, yours will sell faster. So we do clean up the silver. Although we don't buy silver plated silverware or silverware very often.
Nope.
We've bought 3 or 4 sets, but we come across the stainless steel stuff way more often.
Yep.
But it is worth having some of this on hand. If you're buying anything silver, jewelry, silverware, silver plated anything, this stuff works miracles and it's very quick.
But a note on it. If you use it in a well-ventilated area. Otherwise,
we shouldn't have to give them disclaimers like that. Look, don't drink poison. Don't run into trees. It's like, I don't know. We can give them all kinds of disclaimers. Like, it's poison.
Well, we did. We learned our lesson, though, on using it in a well-ventilated area.
It stinks.
It stinks, and the smell stays there for a while.
Yep. And Teresa likes to do it right in the kitchen on the counter, which is
I did end up turning on the vent hood up above.
Yep. It's not horrible stink, but it's enough to let you know there's some stuff going on there.
Okay, so that's how we clean them. Now, how we store them.
Oh, we should probably... We got really lucky when it comes to storage. Before, we would just bag them up and write on them. Kind of like this here. We'd bag them up and write on them, and they would all go into one of our short totes. So
that got really heavy from the top shelf.
Even like the 6-inch tall totes got really heavy to take down and put up. But we got lucky, and we found a storage cabinet at the local thrift store where we were that had a whole bunch of drawers in it that makes storing these very easy. You just want to show them? Yeah,
but I'm going to talk about that first. So I do still put them in Ziploc baggies. Yep. I do write on the Ziploc baggies what is in there. So if, like the Oneida Omni, I had, 3 sets of dinner forks. So I would write Oneida Omni dinner forks, 4-piece times 3. So that I know there's 3 sets in there to start off with. So I don't ever mess it up.
Yeah, you can have your own inventory system, whatever works best for you. But with silverware, we find it's best to keep them in something you don't have to pull down off a shelf. If you're pulling a big tub of silverware up and down on a shelf, you're going to stop selling silverware pretty quickly because they are very weighty.
Yep, and I do try and keep them in once we show you our drawers, I do try and keep them in like brand patterns together. Unless they're individual items, then I just shove them all in drawers. Should we show them?
Yep, enough chit chat. All right, field trip. Let me get around here. It's kind of messy.
It is. This is all my random toy. Okay, so in our silverware, oops, not that one, because that's not silverware. So like here, I just put them in a bag and then stick them in there. So we have like drawers upon drawers. Whoops, that's not silverware. Of drawers. This is my Omni drawer. And we started out over here. I don't know how many drawers you want me to show them.
I think that's good. They get the point. But that's the cabinet we grabbed.
Yep.
And they're fairly wide drawers, but they're shallow, so they hold enough without getting heavy. And they're fairly deep. I mean, they go back a ways, so you can You could really get some. So find something like this with drawers in it, a toolbox,
Oh yeah, a toolbox. would be
anything
really
like that
good.
that you can have drawers on and not be lifting up and down.
Yep, especially a toolbox because the toolbox is meant for heavy
Yep.
tools.
That should cover silverware. I mean, I think
should.
that's everything we know. That ain't a lot, and we said a lot of words to describe very little, but that's what we know so far.
Yep.
And we're still learning every day, and hopefully this will help you guys learn a little bit about silverware too, because it is worth picking up.
And educate us some more because, like I said, you know, the brands that we know of that sell and the patterns that we know of that sell.
If you guys know brands that are worth looking for, now, I mean, we're never ones to look for the one-off, like the Golden Nugget brand that you're going to see once in your whole lifetime.
Yep.
That's from Germany and solid gold or something. Like, we don't care about that because we're not gonna see that out there. But if you know brands that have good value and they're common,
and good sell-through rates.
and they're common and you can find them, those are the ones we're always interested in because we do this for a living. We can't rely on the once in a lifetime treasure hunt. We have to find stuff consistently. So if you guys know any brands like that, be sure to share them with us if you're willing to. We'd love to hear from you.
Yep, and tell us how also, not only the brands and the patterns, but tell us how you list them or what you see to determine how you list them.
Yep. And if we've messed anything up here and we're completely full of crap, let us know in the comments.
We're not full of crap.
50% of us.
Yeah, 50% of us is right.
All right, let's look at the last two things that sold.
Okay, so this clock came out of our estate buyout.
There's nothing to it. It just looks like a little desktop clock.
It is a Brookstone Time Smart self-setting dual wake digital alarm clock.
Yep. Design USA, it says. Now, the great thing about this clock is Teresa was showing me and kind of bragging about it and saying, look at how cool this thing is. And she plugged it in and had it set itself. She just waited and it set itself to the wrong time.
That's because there's a thing on the bottom. It depends on, I don't know if it doesn't do...
Yeah, explain it to me.
I don't know if it doesn't do like
I know what it
daylight
doesn't.
savings time.
I know what it doesn't do. It doesn't set itself to the right time. So the self-setting clock is correct. It does set itself. It just to no particular time.
It does work. I found there's more buttons under.
If you want one that sets itself to the correct time, that's an added feature and you have to pay more. This one only sold for how much?
$29.99.
There you go.
Okay. Can you read that?
Grand Coulee?
No. Yes.
No. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't even know where we picked this belt buckle up at, but it's a vintage 1984 Siskiyou buckle.
Siskiyou?
That's the brand. Siskiyou.
Okay.
Siskiyiou. And it's of Grand Coulee Dam. It is a pewter belt buckle.
Nice heavy belt buckle. Looks like it's never been used. I mean, the little nub on it for going into the belt loops and stuff, I don't think it's ever been on a belt.
I don't know if people usually wear those or if they just collect them and display them.
You can wear them while you're skinny. Once you get fat and your belly starts lapping over, that just digs into you, so you don't wear big buckles anymore. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Teresa tells me.
I do not.
All right, so what's a belt buckle go for?
That belt buckle sold for $20 plus shipping.
There you go.
Pretty sure we only have like $2 in it because when we pick up belt buckles, we don't pay a whole lot for them.
No, we under $5, and usually we try and stay around $1 or $2.
Yep.
And they don't move super fast, so we don't really buy them very often.
No,
We
but I
have
only
a bunch
like,
of them that we bought in a lot. I don't know if you can see them.
I have like 25 belt buckles.
Yep, which is 25 more than we want. So let's do a
We've-
clearance on belt buckles.
We sold a whole, no, because some of those I bought separately. They weren't all part of that.
All right, so that is it for today, right?
That is it.
We just got a bunch of packing to do, and we got to get out of here. And yeah, that's all the words we need. We'll see you guys next time.
Hasta la vista, baby.